What is going on, everybody? Is episode 890 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, and it is incredibly freezing cold in here right now. I'm dying.
I've got a well, you can't see it in this
You
angle.
have a fan literally pointing
me.
right at you, and I'm shivering. Shiver me timbers. Just decided to switch seasons today, I guess.
So you're not wrong. So when I left the house today, I went outside, and normally, at least where we live, it's like you get assaulted by the heat. The first thing that happens when you leave the house. But today when I was leaving the house, it was not, I wouldn't say it was cold, but it was definitely not as hot as it normally is. And it took about 3 paces before then I started to feel the heat. It's not as warm as it normally is.
I'm not doing so well.
She's going to make it through it, guys,
I even do that sometimes on a hot day. I come inside and I'm shivering for some reason because the air conditioning, it just puts me into shock.
Yeah,
I'm like a frail chihuahua.
That's okay. I prefer the cold. That's just me. The heat out here, the winters are kind of perfect. It gets into like the 20s, and that's fine with me. The only thing that sucks out here is that the plowing infrastructure in this part of the country isn't nearly as good as it is in the Midwest, and everything's on a mountain. So that freaking sucks to drive in.
Definitely.
Whereas in the Midwest, it snows nonstop and it's cold as hell, but at least the roads are always seemingly always plowed.
Reminds me about the guest on Timcast last night we were just chatting before the show, and he said that he lives in Portland.
And he likes the weather.
And I was like, why do you live in Portland? Like, no offense, but like, why would you voluntarily live in Portland? And he was like, the weather. And then that was literally it. That was the only reason.
If I could do
I understand opting not to live somewhere because it has bad weather, but to live somewhere only because you like the weather is kind of crazy to me.
That's what keeps California a state.
That's still insane to me. Like that just doesn't seem like a good enough reason to be somewhere.
I don't know.
Especially in California. I just saw this video on Instagram of a guy whose daughter had some medical emergency, got taken away in an ambulance. He was about to pay the bill for the ambulance, and they told him, oh, we made a mistake. We added a discount to your bill when we thought you had no insurance. Here is the bill with your insurance, and it's like twice as much. And he's like, oh, so just to be clear, I was going to pay half as much for the ambulance without insurance. Can I just go back to that price? And they're like, no, you don't qualify for it because you have insurance.
Yeah.
And that's literally just because of a law that they passed in California only last year. So,
California
I mean,
sucks.
to stay there for the authentic tacos and the weather is just a little crazy to me.
What it is that one of the reasons that California is that way is because people that are homeless can move there and live outside pretty much year round. Like, you don't have to worry about huge spells and changes in weather, or even if you're living in Southern California, you're not even dealing with a lot of rain.
Right.
None of the elements that end up making life difficult for you in that respect. Yeah. Me personally, I could do Portland if not for the rain for the most part, but the temperatures are perfect out there. I always joke, I said perfect for me is like 55 to 60 all year round. If I could do that and sunny, let's go. I would be all in for that.
I would be depressed even then. I feel like almost a sunny day that's cold is more depressing than a temperate day that's cloudy.
Yeah, it's like, so in the winter, bone-chilling cold is somehow worse when there's no snow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's awful. Yeah. See that, guys? We started the show talking about the weather. How fun.
We're just tapping into our radio show vibe,
That's what we're doing,
our terrestrial morning radio vibe. I kind of like that for us.
I think you could survive very well as a morning drive time talk show host.
With my language and my opinions.
I mean, you'd have to learn to
the crazy
scale back
thing about that, as I was listening to that morning show on DC 101.1 last year more regularly, I was just like, wow, these people are so normal. They don't have controversial opinions about literally anything.
I mean, that's where I should have ended up.
Except one of them, I forget his name now, but he has a long history being on DC radio stations, alternative rock, and he has had like this long rap sheet of violations against the FCC and like getting his shows canceled. And
so he's the bad boy of the station.
Yeah, but that was all back in like the 2000s and everyone forgot about it.
What was he saying? Like, I would love to know what he was saying.
I think there was one instance where on his Wikipedia page it said he called into he was taking calls from the audience, and one of them came from a high school student who said that they're a high school student, and he started asking the high school student a bunch of questions about things that you shouldn't ask a high school student about what's going on at the high school between the students. I think you guys can probably guess where that conversation went, but it was back in like the days when that wasn't seen as offensive or
he listened
creepy.
to Howard Stern in his free time.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Howard Stern has said and done a lot worse than that. Yeah. And I guess he cleaned up his act and was able to still have a radio profession after that. But I would love to do that. Alex Clark talked about starting out in radio.
I would love to be in an industry where the benefit would be not having really, really strong opinions.
Actually, Matt Walsh started out in radio as well.
It's always surprising to me how many people that come through here, you find out they had some past in Hollywood or some past
that
in radio.
too. Like child actors, Morgan McMichael, we had her on from Turning Point, and she was a child actor.
I remember Mel K reminded me, somebody reminded me that Mel K was like a stand-up comedian before going into, working in the podcast space and stuff like that.
It all kind of seems to go together.
So does that mean that in like 20 years I can have like some completely different career and be like, oh, you had a time in podcasting?
I don't know. Like, is radio going to still be viable for a very small portion of people?
No, it will always be viable because cars are always going to be there. So it will exist. People have them, as long as you have a car. Even though
people are streaming in their cars anyway?
Yeah, I think so. I think cars will always keep radio relevant.
We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. After growing up in the Midwest, I am quite happy semi-retired in Florida. When comparing snow to the subtropical heat, I always say you don't have to shovel the heat. Well, that's true, but then there come the hurricanes.
But you can always add more layers, but you can only take off so much.
Aside from the temperatures, though, I would be scared of just the cataclysmic weather events in Florida.
Yeah.
Having to have flood insurance is such a headache in and of itself.
I would love to live someplace like if it wasn't for the rain, but all my friends that skate in like Seattle and Portland love it, except for the rain can be a drag sometimes. But rain is sometimes less bad than worse than rain, worse than snow for skating is wind. Wind is the most annoying thing you can deal with.
It just throws you?
It just throws you around. So we're getting off on a bit of a tangent. We are not IRL. We do not start with some monologue. We just banter about our day. That's what we're doing. We're doing witty banter.
I'm sorry. While you're getting into the topics, I am going to sneak over and get a Zyn because I'm just feeling the pull to have some nicotine right now. Hope that's okay. I will duck. I will duck. Don't worry.
Guys, while she does that, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Maybe perhaps you joined us last night because Mary asked you while we were on Timcast IRL for you to join this show and to watch. And if you have done so, you should subscribe to the channel so that you can catch all our episodes live, all the segments. Remember to share the content out with everybody in your life that you both love and hate in equal measure. The more people that you share the content with, the faster channels like this can grow. You should also argue about the content in the comments section to help increase our engagement. So thank you guys so much for that. What are we getting into today? Well, I woke up rankled. I was rankled.
I'm sorry. I just learned this word today.
I was annoyed because, look, we spent 3 days on Sydney Sweeney's jeans, and then we just seamlessly transitioned right into Jenna Ortega's face. And I think part of this is because I was dumb enough to put X back on my phone. So now I am, as I said, rankled and annoyed because it's just one thing to the next.
Well, if we're being honest, we started with Sydney Sweeney's jeans back on Friday last week. So we've technically spent 5 days consecutively having to mention the damn American Eagle ad campaign.
I suppose...
I think we're all over it by now, and it's time for a new outrage cycle.
We're on to a new outrage cycle, guys. So we are going to talk about Jenna Ortega's face. She was on a red carpet event, and people were making conversation about whether she has had buccal fat removal. They were talking about her eyebrows, all of these things. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. I'm not going to say what I want to say right this second. But we're also going to talk about, in a more positive note, actor Neil McDonough. You know, he played Quarles on Justified. That's one of my favorite roles of his. He's a Christian actor. He's done a lot of stuff with Angel Studios. He's telling this story, which I had heard a long time ago, but I think he's kind of really getting it into the mainstream consciousness now, about how, you know, at a certain time in his career, over a 2-year period, he was pretty much blacklisted in Hollywood because he refused to kiss other women on screen that were not his wife.
And I'm sure Hollywood
was like, not on my watch.
Despises that.
There's a 20 there.
We have a 20 from Dingus Khan of Gongolia. On my 5th day, tobacco-free, thanks to Zyn. Smoked for 20 years. I can't believe how much better I feel. Truly underrated for smoking cessation, although I am a recreational user. I have heard that it does wonders.
All right, so congratulations. Overcoming anything is a big deal. So congratulations on that. So we are going to talk about Neil McDonough. I think that's quite a heartwarming story, despite Hollywood's stupidity. We are also going to talk about this... just yet another reason why you shouldn't use dating apps, because a lot of the people on there, they're not even there for love. Imagine that. What they are there for is to do weird social experiments so they can write articles on it for the Daily Mail. In this case, it's a guy and a girl. Reporters went on to this dating app and decided to start every conversation with "Hi, I'm MAGA," which might be the worst.
Like, that's just immediately no. Like, immediately you're confirming you're the most annoying person
even
ever.
if you're like Donald Trump's biggest supporter, that should give you pause. But we're going to talk about what the results of this are, seemingly showing men to be more open to opposing viewpoints than women. So we'll get into it.
Or they're more open to lying about their viewpoints, which is another insight from the piece.
So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. You ready to go?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
All right,
I don't think there was anything else I wanted to go on a tangent about.
Then we can go ahead. Okay. And that's funny, too, because like normally we're having a conversation before the show starts, but we were just not talking at all before the show started.
Well, we just came out of our shells. That's what we do.
All right, let's get started.
So there has been some outrage resurfacing against Willow Smith, daughter of Will and Jada Smith. She, back in 2024, actually, pushed back at accusations that she only has success in her career because of her parents, and now those comments are resurfacing and getting more negative attention. She is the less annoying of the two children. Jaden Smith, I think, still is certifiably the most annoying Nepo baby, but they are in very tough competition with each other, because I didn't know she said something like this. I think she's more talented than her brother, and I will explain why.
Yeah, but does she think as deeply?
But she doesn't like say things like, if mirrors aren't real, then our eyes aren't real, or whatever. So this was an interview with Allure back in 2024, where they're talking about all of her negative self-talk, right? The inner voices that are constantly berating her, and she is reflecting back at herself all the hateful things that are said about her online. Here's what it said. No amount of dancing, reading, meditating, or even love could fully silence the negativity of Willow Smith's inner voice. It echoes with rebukes. You're never going to be good enough. Everyone thinks you're only special because of all the things they've seen from your parents. No one really cares about you. You're a fraud. Each thought had its own sting. But that's just because I'm reflecting the fears and the things that people have said to me, not necessarily my own thoughts. I'm internalizing the negativity from the outside. That voice also drives her work ethic. Given her lineage, Willow is what some would call a Nepo baby. Yes, there are doors that have opened because she has Smith as a last name. However, after some deliberation, we both agree that she doesn't quite fit the bill. First off, because her determination and creative output are not exactly consistent with Nepo babyhood. Say what you like, but Willow Smith doesn't coast. I truly believe that my spirit is a strong spirit. I just can't get over, like, how is it possible to raise children this annoying and pretentious? It's actually impressive. I don't know how they managed it.
I would be interested to know whether it was a written. I'm assuming this isn't like an email interview and it's an actual in-person.
A sit-down interview.
I would actually give you more leeway if it was like a written interview. Like you just got into your creative writing headspace.
No, this is how they talk. Yeah. This is just what Jaden and Willow
actually worse.
think.
It's one thing to write that way. It's a completely different thing to talk that way.
To say it out loud, totally in earnest, not having any clue how stupid you sound. Here was her quote, sorry. I truly believe that my spirit is a strong spirit, and that even if my parents weren't who they were, I would still be a weirdo and a crazy thinker. I definitely think that a little bit of insecurity has driven me harder because people do think that the only reason I'm successful is because of my parents. That has driven me to work really hard to try to prove them wrong. But nowadays, I don't need to prove shit to anybody. The second reason why they claim Willow Smith doesn't fit the mold for a Nepo baby is because she is a black woman in America. And no matter if your parents are on billboards or you've been the face of Chanel or Mugler campaign, which Willow has, most recently signing a beauty contract with Dior, you can still walk into places and get, quote, put in your place. Yeah, Willow Smith, of all people, I'm to believe, is a victim of racism.
That's what happens when you go into Erewhon.
She said, there have been some experiences where I went into a place that I've worked in the past, and my picture could even be up on the wall, and they treat me like, this is a little bit out of your price range, or you don't really belong here. Like she walks into a Gucci store or something, and the sales associates are going to treat her a certain way because she's black, even if they know that she's Willow Smith. Stop bullshitting me. Yeah. And then she continues, being black in America, which of course they capitalize, even with privilege, which I'm never going to deny that I have, you're still black. And I love being black. People would look at me and say, okay, well, her parents are this and that, but she is still like me. She still has brown skin, and we all know that that doesn't exempt you from anything, and that's a place of connection. So she feels connected to all of the other oppressed black people.
Well, here's the thing, though. I can do that as well. See, being white in America, despite poor, I'm still poor, right? So even with all the privilege of being white, I'm still poor, which connects me to the diaspora of all the other poor people in this country.
She also talked some about how her parents have supported her creative dreams since she was very young. I think that actually means that Jaden and Willow Smith have had smoke blown up their asses since they were sentient, and that's why they're so annoying today. Everyone in Jaden Smith's life has told him he's a young prodigy, a genius, and that's what he believes. So does Willow.
We need to get Jaden Smith to hang out with Terrence Howard and see what comes of it.
But they did tell her, if you want to be a celebrity, it's going to be difficult. She said, as a young kid, I was up on my cloud. I thought they were being such Debbie Downers. They're acting so serious. They were like, okay, we just want you to know that if you really want to sing, this isn't going to be easy. And I thought, what? It was so easy. I just made a song. Little did I know that this shit is a deep lineage. That when you add to that lineage, you must come correct. She would eventually discover that maybe her parents had a point. And they mentioned being the only daughter of Will Smith and Jada Smith is a privilege that cuts both ways. The songs, the staging, and the tour stops were all planned out by others. It was as if she was handed a manual, How to Be a Pop Star 101, and her job was just to read along.
I mean, that's kind of what it is to be a pop star anyway. The machine takes you, and then you just do what they say.
And then she admits that for the beginning of her music career, which started when she was like 8, I didn't write the songs. I didn't produce the music. And now I think I need to write the songs and I need to produce the music. If I'm not doing that, what's the use?
That's true.
Okay, but right? You're admitting that you were just fast-tracked into being a child star and an adult star because of your parents, right?
It doesn't matter if she went and did it all on her own anyways. Just the doors that being the child of those. I feel kind of bad for them in a way. And I've said this before, that I feel bad for a lot of the ones in Hollywood that do feel like a deep desire to follow in their parents' footsteps, because the ones that want to do so, they'll never escape the label and they have to just come to terms with it, and the smart ones just don't talk about it. Like we talked about the other day, if you work hard enough, you can be Jamie Lee Curtis, and then people are like, oh,
you're the daughter of Tony Curtis.
Yes. Wow. And Janet Leigh. So it's doable. I think that we need to spend more time worrying about the children of bad people and how they have to go the opposite Nepo baby route and prove that they're not awful people. That's a real plight.
But even that plight has its own benefits.
They don't have to be rich bad people, though that's the funnier version of this.
If we're talking about celebrities, though, look at Jeanette McCurdy. Okay, you get a memoir out of the fact that your mom was a narcissistic stage mother who abused you.
Yeah.
If you're Brooke Shields, you get a docuseries and a memoir out of it. You can still benefit from having crazy, evil parents as well in this industry. And just the list of undeserved, unearned accolades that Willow Smith has received is absolutely insane. It illuminates exactly the point, which is that she is delusional for saying this. She has collaborations with Travis Barker, MGK.
Yes, there's only one way you end up in the Rolodex of those people, and that's by being part of the industry.
Like, just go down the list. And then she also won an NAACP Image Award and earned an Emmy as a co-host for her mom's show, Red Table Talk.
Yep.
Okay, so... yeah, you're a Nepo baby. You check off every box to be accused of being a Nepo baby. And nobody said that that made you a bad person. It just means that you didn't earn your success. And to say that your success has nothing to do with your parents is peak delusion. And that's the reason why Nepo babies get the amount of hate that they do.
Yeah, I think that much like we talked about yesterday about how if you do this for work and you complain about it, you're going to look awful. If you're a Nepo baby, you shouldn't even try to deny the...
No.
Like, I get the instinct to do so. Some people, they're going to have a lot of ego and they're going to have they're going to have a brash personality and want to push back, but it's in your best interest to just not do it because you're never going to beat those allegations.
And the only reason I do cut her a tiny amount of slack is because with the music she actually has written and produced herself, she has reached a lot of success. Like, she has plenty of songs that one of them has 1.2 billion streams on Spotify. They've gone TikTok viral. Like, I've listened to some of her songs. She's not a bad singer, but she wouldn't be famous without her parents, period. That's just the truth. And I think that her parents have set both her and her brother up for failure as people. Regardless of how they were going to end up financially, they're going to be fine for the rest of their lives, obviously. But they're both seemingly totally detached from reality. Jaden Smith was just recently on a drug binge in Paris, and there was this report that people in his life are concerned because he's headed in a dangerous direction.
I think they just don't understand that he's standing on business with his level of intellect.
And you said that his mom was the one that initially introduced him to psychedelic drugs.
I think that's what I remember them saying, was that she introduced them to psychedelics a couple years ago in like 2023 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's probably not something you should do as a parent, like giving your kids drugs.
No.
It's like parenting 101.
Gone are the days of like the cool mom that takes your keys and lets the kids, as long as they can all drink at your house as long as they don't drive, and now they're just like, here's some mushrooms.
Yeah. They're truly like maybe the most egregious Nepo babies in Hollywood.
All right, let's move on. It's time. This one's ridiculous.
Well, speaking of another Nepo baby, actually, Kim Kardashian has launched a new product in her Skims line, which is face shapewear. She's released plenty of shapewear for the body, but this is a new innovation in her space and her industry. This is a new face wrap product with sculpting fabric that provides jaw support. And it's called the Seamless Sculpt Face Wrap. You put this on your head, and it has a Velcro strap at the top. Basically looks like a bandage that you would wear after surgery or something.
Gentlemen, I'm not saying that you need this, but if you're a looks maxing and you're on your Muse streak, this might be beneficial. I don't know.
And there are more photos as well I would like to show here. There's a little opening for
your ears.
Your ear.
Your ears is.
Do you have the other one?
Let's see. We got this one here.
I don't understand how you're supposed to make this work if you have hair, but
yeah,
that's you're not just supposed to wear that while you're sleeping. By the way, this
isn't an Ashton Hall thing.
Everyday wear. On the website, it says, our first ever face innovation is here. This must-have face wrap boasts our signature sculpting fabric and features collagen yarns. So I'm assuming they're saying the collagen is just going to seep into your face for ultra soft jaw support. Velcro closures at the top and at the nape of the neck allow for easy everyday wear. And Kim Kardashian posted a video on Instagram telling her fans about the product, saying that it's a necessity. Everyone needs this.
Yeah.
You guys know I've been doing shapewear for a really long time, and now we're going to offer amazing face shapewear, which is a necessity. This material is infused with collagen, and it's amazing jaw support. It just snatches your little chinny chin chin. It's super comfortable to wear at night or just around the house, or perhaps in public if you are okay with people assuming you have some horrific disability.
Yeah, I mean, is the idea that it's supposed to look like you just got out of an automobile accident. And or if you're one of those medical scammers that's looking to go and like bilk an insurance company for a bunch of money, then you wear something like this.
I have so many questions. Like, I
feel like if you put a thermometer in their mouth, they would look right at home at a hospital.
Can you talk in these? Can you eat? Can you move your mouth at all? Or is this...
Also, why is the
immobilizing?
Why is the stitch line right there on the chin?
Well, it's supposed to snatch you.
Oh, is that what it's doing?
Make you look like you have a killer jawline. And understandably, this product has been met with a lot of backlash from critics saying, gotta give Kim credit. She's always at the forefront of identifying new things for women to be insecure about and profiting off of them.
Yep.
Why the hell does everything about a woman need to be fixed? Holy hell.
Yeah, Justine Bateman had stuff to say about this. She said, she added at Skims and at Kim Kardashian, said all the rest, all the rest are lying to you. There's actually nothing wrong with your face or chin or neck, etc. They're trying to frighten you into giving them money for useless and ridiculous products. They are trying to distract you from your own wonderful life. You're smarter than that.
Well, I mean, in reality, like, people are going to buy whatever Kim sells, so she doesn't have an incentive not to come up with more bizarre ideas like this. Yeah. Another comment said, Skims, making women feel bad about themselves since 2018. And I admit there is a little too much of that blamed on the Kardashian clan. I don't think that you can solely place the blame at their feet for causing women's insecurities. I think that they prey upon them and make money off of them. But to say that, for instance, Kylie Jenner has caused a generation of women to be so insecure that they would ruin their faces with injections is an unfair accusation. She's just as much a victim of the culture as she is a perpetrator of it. She's just as much a symptom as a cause. In a sane society, Kylie Jenner would have never done what she did to her face and body in the first place. She was raised in that culture and perpetuated it since then, and now she gets praise from choice feminists for being so open and transparent about all the work she's gotten done, trying to support other girls to just be as hot as her. And understandably, there were plenty of comparisons to Hannibal Lecter.
Yes.
State of the world in shambles, people dying. Kim says, new Hannibal Lecter nylon face wrap just dropped. Then Anthony Hopkins.
I wonder where he got his.
Probably got it sent to him in the mail for PR reasons. Yep. Here was his video.
I mean, he did make like a Transformers movie. I don't think he's above doing this for money.
Yeah.
Hello, Kim. I'm already feeling 10 years younger.
Hello, Clarice.
Like, are women supposed to see this and like be like immediately, I'm sold.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna buy it. I want to be Hannibal Lecter.
That's
like,
exactly what they want.
Yeah, so they're now selling for, I believe, $48 online. They're already sold out. And they're meant to create a more contoured appearance.
I mean, okay, so I could buy it if you were going to show me. The thing about this is they never show you an example. Can you give me an example of someone who used one of these long term whose face shape changed? No, you can't. You're just like, to be fair to women, they're just going on vibes. They're like, looks like it works. Sure.
More arguably, the face tape that people wear over their mouths when they sleep is going to make a difference because it forces you to breathe through your nose when you're sleeping. That actually has proven benefits. This, not so much. Another thing that the Kardashians largely popularized in the culture up until very recently was the Brazilian butt lift look. All of them got it. And it seems that now they're removing these BBLs and have left thousands of women that followed in their footsteps suffering complications such as what is now called the BBL smell. And Phil, unfortunately, told us about this for the first time earlier this week. I was horrified to learn that the fat that is injected into your butt with a BBL is so it's so oversaturated in your body that you're unable to circulate blood to those areas, and then the fat goes into necrosis and starts to smell like rotting flesh or a dead animal. And I wanted to show this video from Flecka's explaining the phenomenon.
It turns out BBLs smell bad.
This guy tweeted, the BBL smell thing is so horrendous, it's unreal. It's bordering on a public health emergency in Miami. World capital of booty fat necrosis. I'm not exactly a BBL kind of guy.
I have no BBL American friends, but here's some context as to what happens.
During a BBL, fat is liposuctioned from one area of the body and injected into the butt. If too much fat is packed into a single spot, more than blood vessels can support, it can die. That's called fat necrosis. And it smells about as good as it sounds. When there is more fat in an area than the blood supply allows, the fat will die through a smelly process. It's a complication that can lead to infections, hospital stays, and in rare cases, sepsis.
Disgusting. And there's something called sit-down wind, where BBL Americans sit down and then there's like a odor that gets wafted onto everybody. And if you think about it, it's not that different from the rotten front holes the trans people get after their trans surgery.
Yeah. So
I was so much happier before I heard any of that.
You know, that's the Kardashian cultural impact right there. We're all smelling it.
Well, yeah, well, no, the thing is you're not smelling it because it's only being seen through your phone, through Instagram pictures. So,
yeah,
you know.
And as Phil pointed out earlier this week, if you want a bigger butt, you can achieve that by natural means and
Go
not
to the gym.
experience the BBL smell epidemic, but that's not what they want. They don't want the natural result. They want the fake look. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Like it should be noticeable that they got their stomach fat injected into their butt. They want the absurdly skinny legs in comparison to the butt.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Thanks, I hate it. All right, let's move on.
All right. So Justin Timberlake is still in the middle of a lot of controversies following his DUI arrest, which I believe was earlier this year. And it appears that he's been going through some private health struggles. He recently posted on Instagram to tell his following about that. He says he's been diagnosed with Lyme disease, and this is a reason why he's been struggling on tour. He said, as many of you know, I am a pretty private person, but as I'm reflecting on the tour, I want to tell you what's been going on with me. Among other things, I've been battling with health issues and was diagnosed with Lyme disease, which I don't say so you feel bad for me, but to shed some light on what I've been up against behind the scenes. If you've experienced this disease or know someone who has, then you're aware living with this can be relentlessly debilitating, both mentally and physically. When I first got the diagnosis, I was shocked, but at least I could understand why I would be on stage in a massive amount of nerve pain or feeling crazy fatigue or sickness. I was faced with a personal decision: stop touring or keep going and figure it out. I decided that the joy performing brings me far outweighs the fleeting stress my body was feeling. I'm glad I kept going. Not only did I prove my mental tenacity to myself, but I now have so many moments with all of you that I'll never forget. I was reluctant to talk about this because I was raised to keep something like this to yourself. But I'm trying to be more transparent about my struggles so that they aren't misinterpreted. Sharing all of this with the hope that we can find a way to be more connected.
Yeah, I don't know about that last part. I don't know what being connected has to do with
And I'd
it,
like
but
to do my part to help others experiencing this disease too. So in the interest of Lyme disease awareness.
I mean, I feel like it would actually be kind of terrifying if like you had a normal amount of energy and it was normally not a problem, and then suddenly you're performing and it's not like his age is so advanced where it should be noticeable that suddenly he's tired all the time. So I imagine that was pretty weird for him.
We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. There is an excruciatingly difficult scene to watch in Terry Gilliam's 1985 film Brazil, where Katherine Helmlins gets her face stretched in a procedure that accurately predicts what people are doing to their faces today.
That's depressing.
Interesting.
Yes, I'm sure people were feeling much like saying "Cry Me a River" to him.
Yeah,
But
unsurprisingly, there was not much sympathy offered to Justin Timberlake after his announcement of this diagnosis. And it actually comes in a long line of celebrities who have spoken out publicly about getting diagnosed with Lyme disease or self-diagnosing themselves with Lyme disease. That is a real phenomenon, and it seems like celebrities suffer from this disease more often than the rest of the population. And you have to wonder, why is it that celebrities more often have Lyme disease, lupus, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, these other
it's never lupus.
Nebulous diseases that have very difficult to ascertain diagnostic criteria, and there's really no way to prove or disprove that you have it. It's very difficult to get a diagnosis in the first place.
Not having symptoms is one of the symptoms.
Right. Brain fog, general tiredness. These are pretty easy to self-diagnose.
Whenever I use those as an excuse not to come to work, I get yelled at.
Yeah, and my assumption is that celebrities, because they tend toward the narcissistic traits, are more likely to be hypochondriacs and are more likely to be searching for ways to victimize themselves.
He's an outdoors guy. He likes to hike. He likes to camp, right? So is that where
I'm not saying I believe Justin Timberlake is faking Lyme disease, but I do think celebrities are more likely to fake diseases like that because of their psychological profile. Thank you, guys. Yeah, he wrote a whole album, I believe, about going on a camping trip with his wife and doing shrooms together. So I believe he is an outdoorsman who probably could have caught this disease. I'm not saying he's lying about it, but I found this list of a bunch of celebrities who have talked about getting diagnosed with Lyme disease, including Avril Lavigne. She revealed that in 2015 that she had been bedridden for 5 months due to Lyme disease, which she contracted the year prior. Her advocacy has helped raise awareness about the condition because, you know, there can never be enough awareness, right? Justin Bieber also opened up about having Lyme disease in 2020, which left him feeling fatigued and suffering from mental health issues. There's also infamously Yolanda Hadid, one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, who has been an outspoken advocate. And she was diagnosed in 2012, has written about her experience with Lyme disease. And her daughter, supermodel Bella Hadid, has also revealed Lyme disease has taken a toll on her body, affecting her passion for horseback riding.
I will say, okay.
But there's also Shania Twain, Alec Baldwin, Amy Schumer, Kelly Osbourne, and just countless others if you go down the list.
If you're somebody like Justin Timberlake or anyone, especially or Avril Lavigne or anyone that's a musician, which requires you to have a lot of energy and be upbeat on stage when you're performing. If like, you know, like even when you're tired, right? If you haven't slept very much, your body will overcompensate when you're on stage because adrenaline kicks in and your body compensates for the fact that you haven't slept, right? Now that might throw your timing off or make your performance like less good sometimes. And this is assuming they're not pharmaceutically altering themselves, right? But the idea that like he's in his mid 40s and he's just like sluggish and not able to keep time, and it's got nothing to do with age because again, he's not that old. Like that would actually probably be a pretty terrifying thing to imagine being through, and then like later finding out that it's something else. But most of the time when you hear this stuff, like the average person's just, they're not going to have any sympathy for you. Like it sucks, but they're not going to have any sympathy for you.
Right.
But I can empathize, I guess, a little bit.
That's why one of the top responses to the Justin Timberlake announcement was famous people are obsessed with having Lyme disease.
Yeah.
Like it's their favorite thing. And lupus is another one that's popular. In fact, I'll look this up, but Selena Gomez is probably the most famous celebrity that has talked about having lupus. In fact, her fans will blame any of her behavior on lupus. She has a speaking voice that is totally unrecognizable from how she used to sound. And they say it's because of lupus affecting her vocal cords. I'm not a medical expert. I don't know if that's a side effect of lupus or the medications for it, but she definitely seems like she's on drugs all the time.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon also claims to have dealt with lupus since 2012, and there are tons of other celebrities who have lupus. And, you know, I'm not trying to sound unsympathetic, you know, I'm not trying to discredit their claims. They could all be telling the truth. I'm just saying celebrities would be more likely than anyone in society to use these diagnoses for their own personal victimhood narratives and in a way to get some sympathy from people who ordinarily wouldn't think they have any struggles.
It's like that scene in Wayne's World when he says, "For one time I thought I had mono for an entire year. Turns out I was just really bored."
Yeah. Like, I also don't really know if there's a consensus on the existence of chronic Lyme because that's contested as well. My dad told me that he had Lyme disease as a kid and was sick for like a month and just recovered. So I know Lyme disease is a real disease, but some people say chronic Lyme is actually the fake disease.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to call back to this infamous podcast clip of two women talking about their experience with Lyme and how it gives them spiritual powers. Unlike the rest of us, they are tapped into another astral plane because they are diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Here we go.
I worked with a medical intuitive, and she said every time she sees someone with Lyme, it's an intergalactic substance, and it's literally bringing in codes from the beginning of time.
Yes.
I know.
I believe this. This gives me chills down my entire body.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it in those exact words before, but I'm often trying to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Lyme is a gift.
Yes, yes.
It is not for the faint of heart.
No.
And it is for the most deeply spiritual people
Yes.
on the planet.
Yes.
It's like a bizarro Alex Clark, the opposite of Alex Clark, the evil Alex Clark.
I would say that actually women who are attracted to the crunchy online space are more likely to have self-diagnosed with autoimmune disorders.
Yes, well,
You might not assume that at first, but it's true.
does it give you a superpower like they're saying here? It's a superpower, basically.
Lyme is an intergalactic superpower. These ticks are actually gifting them
Also,
with, you know, a bunch of magical powers.
can somebody tell me
I worked with a medical intuitive, and she said
what the hell a medical intuitive is?
Probably someone who should be in jail for impersonating a doctor.
My guess is that there's no licensing needed to be a medical intuitive.
Right, like a life coach. You can basically pretend to be an expert on anything and call yourself a coach, and you can skirt through the liabilities. But yeah, the ticks are actually trying to help us
My
when they
favorite thing
infect
about-
us with Lyme disease.
My favorite thing about stories like this is like, the thing is like you could be in line at Target next to this woman and you would never know that she's insane.
Yeah.
They walk amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What would you like to see? Would you like to see cringe or would you like to see cute?
You decide.
Okay, we'll start with cute today. We'll do cute first. We will break things up out of order today. Here we go. Let's make sure that we've got a new one. Yes. From Deadman. Independent Indy found her way on top of the gate. See, yeah, the gates don't do anything. Like,
Well, not for cats.
so we have a gate at the top of our stairs of our apartment. And I guess it kind of works because if the cat jumps over the gate, they're going to be landing on a stair or two, which is not a very safe place to land. But if we move that gate and we just set it to the side of either of the hallway doors or like the hallway entrances, which are on either side of it, cats just jump right over it.
Right.
I mean, really just Toast jumps over it. The other two are so old now that they don't. I don't know if Chloe would, but she could if she wanted to. Chloe is remarkably limber and nimble for being so fat and old, which is why we love her.
Well, Indy looks skinny enough that she could just walk through the bars.
She does.
She didn't need to jump over it.
All right. All right, let's do cringe of the day. Here we go. Is that James Charles?
Yes?
Okay.
No? We're not
Maybe.
sure yet.
Laura, how can I help you?
Hi there. I'm calling to let you know that I, James Charles, will be coming to your Sephora store tomorrow. I would love to do a meet and greet with my fans, show off some of my favorite makeup products, and maybe even do some makeup on some fans there. Can you please provide me with the location and hours of your store?
James Charles, like the YouTuber?
Yes, correct. Yes, I mean, I've got a side to government author of a breakfast fit reports. Guys, I am James Charles, the makeup artist and beauty guru who started on YouTube. I have millions of fans and subscribers around the world,
I mean, until that part, I would have bought it.
No, they buy it.
and I would love to meet them in person at your Sephora store.
Really? No way.
I'm serious. I'm calling to make arrangements to visit your Sephora store tomorrow. I can't wait to meet my fans in person and share my love for makeup with them.
Okay, let me get my manager real quick.
Good. That's a good idea.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hello?
No, it goes on.
Wow, that was quick. Thanks for getting your manager on the phone.
Hello. I'm speaking to the James Charles, supposedly.
Yes, you are speaking to James Charles, the makeup artist, YouTube personality, and all-around fabulous human being.
Wow, this is incredible.
So many people are gonna get scammed, dude.
Yeah.
So many people are gonna get.
This isn't real or anything. Real.
I think no. Here's the thing. I think that in the back of her brain, something is like something about it isn't landing that she can't put to words, which is why they keep asking.
Wow.
Right.
I'm actually stuttering on words right now. I don't know what to say.
I can assure you that I am real, and this is not a dream. I'm excited to be coming to your Sephora store tomorrow to meet my fans and do some makeup.
I mean, this is such short notice. Tomorrow, I don't know if tomorrow could work. I would have to set up a meeting with my other workers. I have to probably call my my actual general manager for this. I don't know if tomorrow could work.
I understand that I'm giving you short notice, but I would really appreciate it if we could make this work. I have a lot of fans who would be thrilled to meet me in person and see me do makeup. Do you think it would be possible to work something out?
I mean, yeah. If you could call us, I'll probably love to get your phone number and be able to call you back and
I just want to get the number.
keep in contact. I would have to set up a meeting, but yeah, that could totally happen.
That sounds great. I'll give you my phone number and you can call me back to keep in touch and keep me in the loop about what's going on.
Hello, this is Sephora. How can I help you?
Oh my gosh.
Is this illegal?
It's probably illegal.
It feels
I mean,
illegal.
it's some type of impersonation that's definitely not legal.
Oh, we have
Should've-
a 20 from Josh Romstadt. As a pre-Disney Star Wars fan and Catholic, I listened to Tim's takes on Star Wars in the same way I listened to Ian's takes on Catholicism. The analogy was off the rails last night. I like feel like I didn't absorb Star Wars when I watched it because I was so lost.
So when he went into the between that and the video game thing about the AI cheeseburger or whatever the hell it was, it's like I got so lost in like it was so layered and there were so many aspects to the hypothetical that I just kind of gave up. If I'm being honest.
Well, the guest was really into it. I didn't expect him to be such a huge fan.
I loved how much the guest and him wanted to talk about Star Wars, and
like I'm happy for you from a distance.
Yeah. But when he started making a hypothetical that involved Zoran Mumdani, I'm like, okay,
you lost me.
You lost me. It's time to let's just.
Well, I mean, admittedly, as I was watching Star Wars, I was like, wait, like, why are the Sith bad though? Like, I don't get it.
Just the whole thing was a bit much for me. The only way it could have been possibly worse is if it had been about Star Trek.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree. The Jedi are self-important and self-righteous. They're annoying.
I just, it also seemed to come back to the type of thing where it's like, yes, it is absolutely true that everyone is the hero of their own story, and the whole point of this argument is to try and disprove that, which is impossible because it's subjective.
This is a great Instagram caption. Sometimes you have to be the villain in someone else's story.
Yeah, but the whole point for me is I'm just like, yeah, but why though? Like, why do I have to have this discussion?
You didn't. There you go. We can opt out.
We definitely opted out. That was fine. All right. Let's move on. Let's get started. Oh no, wait. So in the chat, it says I loved Brett rolling his eyes when Tim pulled but you're the pop culture guy. No, see the thing is though, is that was during the video game segment.
Video game.
I should have been what it should have been is like, you mean the Gamermaids guy. The Gamermaids guy should be the one that you talk to, but the video game stuff. Right. If you want to talk about vintage video games, we could do that retro, but otherwise, like these hypotheticals that involve AI cheeseburgers, I got nothing.
Yeah. That was a bit of a reach. Okay. Jenna Ortega recently took the red carpet at the Wednesday Season 2 premiere in London and debuted a new look which disturbed millions of people. And I don't think that she went under the knife for this look. I think this is mostly due to makeup and contouring that she looks so different from usual, but people are making a lot of assumptions, jumping to a lot of conclusions, and they're outraged that she doesn't look like her former self in these new photos. Let's show them.
The new one first. So here's the one that got everybody started.
Yes, this one account, this is a popular gimmick account called Kira Won't Miss. He said, Jenna Ortega's makeup artist needs to be fired immediately. And some of the responses from women pushed back, saying men will never understand how this is serving, actually. Men will never get it. The difference between men and women's reaction to this look, this is actually the best she's ever looked.
Can I ask a question?
Disagree.
Can I ask a question? Why are the eyebrows dyed? Is there a reason for it? I understand it if it's to match the hair, but is this like some type of style choice that I don't understand?
Well, it's definitely a trend right now. If you guys are listening rather than watching, Jenna has her eyebrows bleached. So basically they are almost invisible on her. And it definitely gives you an alien look. It deceives you into seeing a longer forehead as well. It's not flattering. I know it's not sexy, but that's kind of not the point of the look.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be. Like, you know, not every time that you go on a red carpet are you supposed to be going for like some kind of bombshell, you know, sexy look. That's fine. The overreaction was just kind of insane to me. like the fact that people feel personally offended by this.
Yeah.
Another account said, whoever created buccal fat removal should be arrested and tried for crimes against humanity.
So let me ask you a question.
Before and after comparison of Jenna Ortega.
You believe that she didn't have it done, that this is purely makeup?
No, yeah, I don't believe, honestly, that Jenna Ortega has gotten any work done. And I believe she probably will in the future because most people in Hollywood do. But I cannot tell just from looking at her, and I've seen many examples, that she's gotten any work done whatsoever. And if you really put this into context, we're comparing a photo of her from yesterday to a photo of her from actually back in 2018. I found the origin of this first photo. This is from her appearance at the Venom movie premiere in October 2018.
Okay.
Which was literally days after she turned 16 years old. Today she is 22. I know for a fact that I looked very different between the ages of 16 and 22. And mostly for the better. But obviously this is, first off, going through puberty. This is, you know, a natural effect of aging. You're not going to have a bunch of fat stored in your face as you get into your 20s. And it's also the fact that there's heavy contouring on her cheekbones. She always had a facial structure that was destined to have very pronounced cheekbones. You can tell that even from the old photo. And the bleached eyebrows, I think, is the main culprit here.
Okay.
I don't think she went under the knife. I highly doubt that she had buccal fat removal. And there are examples of celebrities who have gotten it. I think it's more arguable that Anya Taylor-Joy got buccal fat removal than Jenna Ortega, for sure. That's just a wild claim. Another person said buccal fat removal is great for people who want to look like they serve as the herald for a space emperor set on acquiring all space mining rights.
I mean, that is funny. That did make me laugh when I read that one.
But, you know, I just think that people are getting outraged over this for no reason. Like, sometimes a celebrity is going to go on a red carpet trying to look attractive, and other times they're going to go on a red carpet trying to look shocking. And those both have their own purposes that are equally valid for getting people talking.
I'm of two minds. I doubt that she made it to 22 without having at least something done. I don't know what that would be. Again, I have no expertise in any of this. I defer to you because you care more and pay more attention to this type of stuff. So if you say that she didn't, I'm gonna take your word for it. Though I find it hard to believe that you make it to 22 in that industry without doing something. When they talk about your shelf life being till you're 20, they're now like calling Sydney Sweeney old at 27. So
who's saying that?
There was like a thread going around today. It's like everyone's ignoring the elephant in the room. She's old, and it's a picture. It just shows her age.
Okay.
I don't care about this because I'm a dude. And I laughed because all it made me think about was like the outrage cycle just moved seamlessly from everybody worried about whether Sydney Sweeney was propagating Nazi propaganda to everyone straight into it's the end of humanity. The birth rates are going to plummet and feminism has destroyed society because Jenna Ortega looks odd on a red carpet. I don't have it in me to care. I don't.
Well, you can say I don't care because I'm a dude, but I'm looking at all of these dudes who really care.
I don't care.
They really care.
I don't care because I'm well adjusted.
Yes, that is more accurate. Like, there are tons of dudes who feel personally offended, including this really creepy one who posted a picture of Jenna Ortega captioned, "WTF happened to my sweet little baby."
Yeah.
She's not yours. She's not a baby. You're creepy. Please stop saying things like that. That's extremely weird to say about a grown woman who doesn't know who you are and is a total stranger to you and hopefully always will be. Yikes.
So the thing about this is I also said to you earlier, I said, this is a product of the internet. This is the product of X. This is the product of social media, which forces people to write out these heavily worded theses about how every single thing that catches the eye of whichever influencer you follow most is detrimental to society in some way. Whereas if you were to pull some dude walking down the street and showed him a picture of these, he might look at this photo and say, oh, she looks kind of weird. I don't know. And then they would keep walking because it's not the end of the world. Society isn't going to collapse because she had her eyebrows bleached. It doesn't have a greater impact on society. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that she's on a red carpet, and in 2 months she's going to be doing another role where her eyebrows will have to be bleached back to their normal color, and society will go on. I'm sick of the is catastrophism a word?
They're catastrophizing.
She's everyone's catastrophizing everything. Sydney Sweeney's jeans are not a dog whistle to white supremacy, and Jenna Ortega's eyebrows and cheeks are not the end of civilization as we know it. And
it's also tiresome.
It's also
basically
tiresome.
Yeah. You also sent me this other post comparing Jenna Ortega to other celebrities that for sure have gotten extensive work done, admittedly so, including Ariana Grande, Erin Moriarty from The Boys, and Kate Beckinsale, all of whom have gotten extremely obvious plastic surgery done over the years. Jenna Ortega has not. I'm just very confident in saying she has not gotten any work done. This is the result of dramatic makeup and lighting and costuming. Okay, this is not, if she had gotten work done, that would be a different conversation entirely. But the caption says you can hardly tell they've had any work done, and that these doctors are basically scamming them. Erin Moriarty, of course, has gotten extensive work done, and there was a whole conversation about how she ruined her original face, and that's true. And she reacted outrageously to all of that, saying that she was being bullied and that they were lying. It was outrageous the way that she overreacted to all of that.
Let me ask you a better question. Given that most of the time people tend to see connections everywhere, everyone's drawing attention to her cheekbones. Is the hair being there on her face drawing your eye to that side of her face? Is that intentional? Or is that just how it happened to fall in that photo?
I don't think that she intentionally. Do you think she intentionally took a piece of her hair?
No,
and placed
no.
it
But,
like,
it is the first thing that your eyes draws to, because
Sure.
all the comments are about buccal fat, which is by that side of the face.
Yeah. Interestingly, I remember the buccal fat removal conversation trending after the TikTok party that CJ Pearson threw in January, because this girl ended up being the focal point of the Rolling Stone cover that said the Cruel Kids table, because she was so beautiful and she just drew everyone's eye, and she has these very full cheeks. And people found out who she was, and she was interviewed for all these different publications because of the way that people were reacting to her. And people were using her as an example of why women shouldn't get buccal fat removal, because it's actually a really youthful, attractive feature to have a full face.
Yeah.
But if you do pay attention to her face structure, she has very defined cheekbones, actually. Like, you can actually see the line in her face where her cheekbones are. She just also has fat stored in her face as well. So those hollows can show regardless of whether you genetically have chubby cheeks.
I would assume that this is like that the eyebrows and the gothic look is just because she's at a Wednesday premiere.
And because she just has
That's
that
her
aesthetic.
aesthetic,
That's
yeah.
her aesthetic. Yeah, and the bleached eyebrows are also part of the whole man repeller makeup trend.
That would have been the more interesting discussion, I suppose, if you're again, I find that side of like techno-feminism of people arguing on the internet about man repeller just as tiresome as all the other stuff. But the idea that, you know, I don't know if that's what she thought about when doing this. My guess is because it matches her aesthetic and her choices. But again, those people are imprinting upon her what they think it means.
No, and you're going to see videos and stills of her in the second season of Wednesday looking exactly the same way that she did in the first season of Wednesday. Okay? Because it's about the makeup and the setting in which you see it.
Yeah.
She still, I mean, if you look at any of these older photos of her, she was a child star. You can see her face changing over the years. This is what happens to people. Shocker, I know. But she always had a face shape that was destined to look like this in her 20s.
Okay.
You can see that very early on.
Again, I defer to you because I would never have thought that deeply about this. I just can't get over all of the end of the world, predictions that we're getting over a celebrity in her 20s doing something. Even if it was true, even if it was true that she just went under the knife and got hacked up. Like, it's still not the end of the world. She works in an industry that's so far removed from that of the average everyday person that it has almost no correlation other than, I suppose, to the vanity of women, most of which will never be able to afford the majority of the procedures that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Friday, Brett and Mary. Tate and I were complaining about toll roads. So what's y'all's opinion? Like them or want to throw the inventor into the Potomac?"
Government sanctioned theft as usual.
But okay, what's the best steelman argument for toll roads?
I guess wear and tear on the roads in a highly concentrated city area, like going into DC or something like that. Assuming the money makes its way back into that department, which I'm sure it doesn't.
Yeah. If it did, though. Yeah. I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. I'm just wary of getting scammed by fake toll road texts.
Yeah. that's
my
big
traumatic
story,
experience.
Yeah.
It was I've never driven in Michigan, but sure, I'm going to put my credit card information into this phishing website.
We, because we were going back and forth to Michigan so much, we got a fast pass for the car, but in general, I always on my phone's GPS, I hit the avoid toll road section. Same. If I can.
Same.
Plus, just the fact that it slows you down. That is a job that I'm sure. First of all, you don't see a lot of hero representation of toll road operators, other than the much underrated Coyote Ugly, where her dad is a toll road operator. But that's got to be one hell of a job, right? Where you just sit in the box for 8 hours and
usually when I show up to those boxes, no one's in them.
It's
you
automated
just do
now.
The machine. Weary Traveler said, "Brett, sorry if you've been asked this before, but as a fellow glasses wearer, I'm curious. Why do you take your glasses off when you're on IRL? I keep mine on all day."
The lighting in IRL is awful. So there are these overhead lights that absolutely just destroy me. And I can't. I used to do it in the old IRL studio too because the overhead lighting in there was so awful. It's a much dimmer lighting in here, and I in general, I still take them off during the show here sometimes. I always feel like I have to clean them constantly as well. But on IRL, it's mainly just because there's these overhead lights that are just, you know what I'm talking about. They're awful.
Well, also the lights that we use are warmer, and in IRL studio, it's like you're on an operating table, and each person in the new studio has a spotlight that's pointed directly at them.
There are days where I leave them on in IRL. I always regret it about an hour in, and then I'm like, I can't take them off now. That would be weird.
It never bothered me, though. It never gave me a headache or anything.
They give me a headache.
Greg Duvier said the Empire did nothing wrong, and then he said the Jedi and Rebels didn't do anything wrong. So I don't know what to
go have that discussion with them.
Shane H. Wilder.
Another reason somebody in this space, if you were a vain person, would be that in IRL, when we do this show, we're looking straight ahead and the camera's just off center. And even before, when we had cameras in here, they were right in front of us. But on IRL, a lot of the times I'm looking across a table at Tim or at a guest, so you would see almost none of my face if I'm turned to the side with the glasses. Mm-hmm. But that's something that somebody who was trying to give you advice on connecting with an audience might give. But mine's just because the fucking lighting's awful in there.
You're just trying to show off your heterochromia.
Exactly, yes. People need to be able to see that my eyes are two different colors.
Shane H. Wilder said, "I spent the entire morning out in Harper's Ferry. It was perfect walking around weather. I do have 178 photos to cull and process in Lightroom, though." It's very picturesque, yeah.
It is a beautiful area. Let's do one more.
Adam said, "Give us y'all's take as a meteorologist." Because we were talking about the weather.
Well, we got a high pressure front coming in from the south. I have no idea. I like that.
Do we need to bring a green screen in here?
Have you ever seen that video? Those videos where the green screen breaks and it says the temperature is like 1,000 degrees, and the guy's like, and as you can see, everyone here is dead because the temperature is 1,000 degrees. I love funny videos with weathermen or weather women.
I just saw this outtake from I think like the Today Show or something where they're talking about Labubu's, and this guy has to like get through this script on the teleprompter about how the fake ones are called Lafufus and how you're supposed to tell them apart, and he's just doubling over.
He can't do
in
it.
Laughter because it's so ridiculous. They're like, just so you know, the real Labubus have 9 teeth and are made of high quality materials.
This is one of my favorite though.
Now today we had a big contrast in temperature across the UK, just 12 degrees over coastal parts of eastern England with cloudy skies, but in the sunshine in northwest Wales at RAF Mona, just up the road from Llanfair Pwllgwyn, Gellgogera Cwndrobwll, Llantysilio Gogogoch, the temperature got to 21 Celsius at 70 in Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
How did he do that?
Can you? My hope is that he practiced it ahead of time.
Wow.
But that guy, you know, like first of all, like who the hell named that city?
I think I would excel as a news anchor. But I wouldn't.
Oh, you would.
I don't know if I'd be able to stick to script.
Yeah.
I'm not compliant.
I mean,
enough.
that's kind of your job is to stick to script. And it depends, like, from what I understand, it's not like from what I understand, like a local news anchor's job is not as simple as just reading a teleprompter. They do a lot of their own research into the stuff that they talk about. It's not as, maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe it was all like propaganda from local news networks on Instagram, but I would see these Instagram shorts, like Instagram reels about like, we do our own research. We pick out our own outfits. We do our own makeup.
That the having to deal with your own wardrobe and makeup and hair part, that's outrageous. I think that should be dealt with by the network, but if they're just reading, like if you do a panel or an interview, I get you have to have background knowledge, but not for reading off of a teleprompter. Pop Culture Junkie sent us a 20. American Eagle just responded to critics. Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes, her story. We'll continue to celebrate how everyone wears their American Eagle jeans with confidence their way. Her story.
That's a pretty neutral response. I don't think they even needed to do that. It's so benign.
Her story, though.
It's herstory. She's making herstory with her white supremacist dog whistle American Eagle ad.
When was that ad campaign ever about anyone's story? Shut the F up. That's so annoying. Okay, yeah, they did not. If that's a real statement that they made, there have been fake ones going around. I don't even know why they needed to issue it, because that is not going to quell any of the controversy. It's just going to remind people of it again.
I mean, maybe that's what they wanted. They're like, hey
guys, remember us?
No, it was? Somebody saw like the Jenna Ortega's getting all the damn it!
We had to get on this quick.
Fine.
Get people mad again.
Yes.
Come on.
All right.
You have to revive the outrage cycle once again.
And she drinks Fanta. All right, let's move on.
All right. So Neil McDonough has recently talked on a podcast about his experience of losing opportunities and getting blacklisted in Hollywood for his controversial decision not to kiss other women other than his wife on screen for his roles. He is a Christian. He also takes his marriage vows extremely seriously. And of course, there are Christian actors and actresses out there who are willing to do kissing scenes with other actors as part of their job, and they don't see it as an affront to their commitment to their spouses. But for him, it's always been a very hard line. He has kept this up throughout his career, and he's lost a lot for this. So I wanted to show this clip before we respond to it.
Here we go.
I'd always had in my contracts that I wouldn't kiss another woman on screen. And my wife didn't have any problem with it. It was me really who had a problem with it. I was like, when I wouldn't do it and they couldn't understand it, Hollywood just completely turned on me. And they wouldn't let me be part of the show anymore. And for 2 years, I couldn't get a job and I lost everything you could possibly imagine. Not just houses and material things, but your swagger, your cool, who you are, your identity, everything. My identity was an actor. and a really good one. And once you don't have that identity, you're kind of lost in a tailspin. And I was in a big, ugly tailspin for a couple of years.
I think he said that he was drinking too much, was a problem with it at the time, probably sent him down a bad path.
As a result of like struggling financially.
He doesn't drink anymore, at least from what I was reading. But yeah, like what's interesting about it is as far as I can remember, none of the things that I've ever seen him in have ever required him to kiss a person. He's just a great bad guy.
Well, because he doesn't take or get offered those roles, though.
He takes great bad guy roles where he gets to say cool bad guy stuff with his cool bad guy face.
He
looks like a villain.
Evil.
He's like that. I mean, that's the funny dichotomy. Is like he looks kind of evil.
We have a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. I don't even know if I should attempt.
Don't even bother attempting.
It means St. Mary's Church in the hollow of the White Hazel near a rapid whirlpool, and the Church of Saint Tecilio near the Red Cave in Welsh.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, I don't know, like, I don't watch all his movies or see all the other stuff that he's in, but it had to be very, very difficult when Hollywood is saying, you know, we need you to do this or else. But that means that he, like you said, he could have been going for roles that had nothing to do with those types of scenes, and then they weren't going to cast him anyways.
He says he took up drinking and lost his identity before his wife helped him find a way out of the dumps. In the clip, he doesn't specify when he went through those rough times. He says times have changed, and he released a new project in May called The Last Rodeo that sees him kissing a woman on screen. How did he move past the hurdle? His real-life wife jumped in to play his wife in that project. He discusses this darker chapter in his career, Clint Eastwood changing his life, playing villains over the years, and more on the podcast. And aside from Yellowstone, he's known for Desperate Housewives, Suits, There Are More, Minority Report, Band of Brothers, American Horror Story.
I'm gonna look.
I think he was in. What was he in? Nefarious?
No,
it was The Shift.
That was The Shift
from
that
Angel Studios.
It was Sean Patrick Flannery that was in Nefarious.
Yeah.
I want you to look. First of all, the interesting thing is now it's likely because of the fact that it takes time for stuff to come out, but there are no gaps in his resume on IMDb, and it goes back a long. Like we're down here at 1990, and he works every year. I think I didn't see any year without any work. We're only up to 2000 now. All that stuff. So likely there was a period in there where there was stuff that was just kind of waiting to come out, and then they just happened to come out on a different year. But there are no gaps in his resume.
Well, okay. I believe the claim that he definitely has left a lot of money on the table for his commitment to not kissing other women on screen. And I also think most normal people would feel deeply uncomfortable with their spouse doing that, just if it's part of their job or not. I think most people would be disturbed by that. Yeah. Apparently his wife isn't one of those people, but he still decided that had to be a hard line for him. Maybe because he feels like it would be a temptation to him for infidelity.
Yeah.
And it's something that I understand most of Hollywood would frown upon and see as puritanical. They believe that sex on screen is a form of self-expression and art, and they're very pretentious about that. So if they're called out by just one person not participating in their rule book, it feels like a personal attack.
It's also a level of personal responsibility. Like, he understands that if he holds his marriage high above everything else, he has to do everything in his power to make sure that he doesn't cause any harm to it. So he's just taking extra steps and precautions to make sure that nothing can come in between him and his wife. And I think that that's something where Hollywood would assume that they would be willing to sacrifice that at the altar of their career. So it's shocking when someone won't.
Well, Variety ended up reporting on this comment that he made, and you mentioned this was something that was circulated on alternative outlets for a long time.
I had seen it on his IMDb years ago, and I think it came back up now because of the novelty of his wife working with him on this movie, so I think that the press releases were strategic.
Okay. So, but it's interesting that the legacy outlets and the trades wouldn't pick up on a story like this until just now. But he said, yeah, he couldn't get a job for 2 years. I'm not sure where
Yeah,
those 2 years would fall.
He doesn't acknowledge where it was, but it just shows you how much work he was getting done in a year. If there are no gaps in his resume and stuff was coming out consistently.
And the new one, The Last Rodeo, that he referred to is also an Angel Studios film. He's playing a former bull riding world champion who returns to the rodeo later in life in order to win money for his grandson's brain tumor surgery. The film opened in theaters in late May and grossed $15 million on a budget in the $8 million range.
Yeah, I mean that's lost money, but that's besides the point. He's gonna be working no matter what. He's been prolific on TV even more than he has on the big screen.
I don't know because I'm not like an expert on these things, but it seems to me that Angel Studios is making bank right now.
I mean, what my guess would be is like the streaming rights after the fact is where they net their money.
Probably,
like
yeah.
When it ends up back on the streaming they have their own streaming service if I remember correctly.
Well, they made a lot of money on Sound of Freedom,
yes,
for sure, by releasing it in theaters. Aside from Neil McDonough, though, there are other actors who have similar rules for themselves, their own boundaries about the roles that they take. Another one is Kirk Cameron. He refused to kiss other women on screen after marrying a co-star, Chelsea Noble.
And I think Candace Cameron Bure has something similar.
I don't see her listed here. And he also had his wife play a body double in one scene.
Okay.
Kirk Cameron did.
That's a very famous example, right?
Here's another one. Brad Pitt refused to kiss Cate Blanchett in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button
because he was married
possibly out of respect for then wife Angelina Jolie.
Well, that all fell apart anyways, so...
You have to wonder, is it like the spouse who's making that request? Well, according to Neil McDonough, it was always his idea, and his wife wouldn't have had a problem with it.
That's very interesting, because you'd think that Angelina Jolie wouldn't have a problem with it either, given that she's also an actor.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just their own insular culture where those things aren't even questioned.
Yeah.
And
there's plenty of actors who make content about like less working. I forget the guy's name. He was on the OC. He makes content now about being on his wife makes content now about being on the OC, about how he used to be a heartthrob. And it's about like how he used to kiss other women.
Yeah.
And she now knows the other women because they're all friends off set and stuff like that. Again, if you're not in the industry, if you're not a theater nerd, it's going to come across weird. It's going to feel weird to everyone that's not part of that world.
We have a 20 from Hey You. I understand Neil's choice not to kiss co-stars on camera, but he traded one sin for another. Peter 5-8 reads, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour."
Wait, what was the other? I'm confused.
I suppose if he phrased it that way, like, I drank as a substitute for, like, kissing other women than my wife, but that's not exactly the way that he put it in the story.
Correct.
I think he's just saying that he went through a rough period of his career, which is partially as a result of the boundaries that he has about the roles he takes. Not that that's the entire explanation for it.
I wonder also if, like, maybe his wife's like, no, it's okay. But he's like,
but like, he's like, I don't really believe that you think it's okay.
Yeah. And that's fine too. I guess. Like,
well, that's understandable.
He's just shoring up his position so that he doesn't have to come back later and be like, you said it was fine.
Right. And then she was like, I wanted you to want to not kiss other women.
Oh my. And,
you know?
And you know.
Classic.
That could happen.
Yeah. I'm looking for... There was this this short that I saw recently of an actor's wife who was like making jokes about how she has to watch him kiss other women on screen.
I think I know
like,
what you're talking about.
That it does actually bother her, but she just kind of has to put up with it.
Because he makes a lot of money.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I can't find it at the moment, but I understand that. Like, I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't be okay with whatever Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby are up to on the press tour. That's a whole other thing.
That baby's gonna think Pedro's the dad.
Yeah. Oh, I found it. Her name is she is the wife of Chris Carmack. Have you heard of him?
What's his? Can you send me? I wonder if it's the guy I was literally just thinking of.
She made a reel where she's like playing his kiss scenes on the TV and like
this is exactly who I'm thinking of.
Here, I'm sending you the
link. She has a whole Instagram channel that's hilarious.
Okay, there you have it on Slack.
That's so funny.
I wanted to show this while we had the chance.
That's literally who the dude from the OC. This is exactly who I was thinking of. That's hilarious.
And all the girls in the comments are like, I could never do what you do. Like, good for you for being so mature.
Here we go. Not getting us in trouble. It says, yeah, you're so funny. Thanks. This is what my husband does when he goes to work.
Yeah, like most people would just be not okay with that. Like that would be a deal breaker for almost any person.
The top comment says, may this love never find me.
Yeah, like I would not be okay with that.
So I think what it is also though is like that this is like a coping mechanism or a defense mechanism for her, where it's like it allows her to turn it into something that she gets to make herself. And the more charitable definition was like she can laugh at the absurdity of what it is. But most actors will tell you, whether they're being honest or not, I don't know, that look at what he's doing. Like, he's in a shower, likely in a room filled with like 65 people in just ridiculously hot lights.
Yeah.
Like, it's not comfortable. It's not sexy.
Sure.
It's extremely awkward. But it does lead to problems for people who get too emotionally connected.
But, you know, there are enough examples of co-stars who are love interests in movies or TV shows ending up dating because of the chemistry they had on screen. That it's a valid reason to be concerned about it, you know? Like, I believe it was the theory behind Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni that Ryan Reynolds allegedly cheated on Scarlett Johansson with Blake Lively because they were love interests in a movie together. And he, in that sense, will project those paranoias onto Blake Lively, who has a new love interest in Justin Baldoni in their movie. And he's going to assume like, oh my gosh, like this is a risk to my marriage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's happened enough times that it's not a crazy thing to assume.
Yep. Or you end up like Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson and you fall in love later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, FCC ain't no joke. One F-bomb is a $10K fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. We need more obscenity laws. Hell yeah. Sethington Media said, I just had someone in chat try to impersonate me and someone else. After experiencing this, I 100% support the change to our unique @handles. Well, I guess that's maybe why YouTube implemented it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Dingus Khan of Gongolia, already read that one. Greg Juvier said, Hollywood women need to stop cutting up their face. Thank you. Good time.
Can we get to a third one?
I think we can.
Let's get to a third one. And the number is working again today. The number wasn't working yesterday.
What happened? Do you know?
I have no idea. If
it just needed to sleep on it and decide.
I reset the crisis meter and said take a nap.
Cool. Shane H. Wilder said, if you ain't zinnin', you ain't winning. So true. Skims jaw support for people too lazy for mewing. Yeah, mewing is like the easiest exercise that you could possibly do, though. Almost, you don't even have to think about it. No Control said, doesn't BBL stand for Big Booty Latina?
Yes, that's what it stands for. It's the only thing it stands for.
Should we just go with that?
Yeah, we'll go with
that. Sure. No Control. I don't know. Brett, do you want to read that one?
No Control 556 says, Rotten Front Hole is my new band name. Cool.
High Voltage 75 said, imagine the smell. Yeah, hopefully we're only ever going to have to imagine it. Unless you,
by the way,
visit Miami.
That term is, you can say that that's offensive all you want, but that's what they were, what was it they were calling it when they were calling them birthing person? It wasn't even being, they were giving weird names to body parts during that period when companies were afraid to say woman or mother.
Yeah, like chest feeding.
Chest feeding.
Weird stuff. Weary Traveler said, didn't need that mental image.
Yeah, I agree. Do one more.
And he also said BBL Drizzy.
Olivia just gave me the full first, middle, and last name for my obscene pronunciation in the chat.
Wait, what?
She just said Brett Anthony Dasovic in the chat, all caps, because I said the rotten front hole. Rotten front hole.
It's too late to take it back now.
Let's move on.
Glad we don't have FCC guidelines on our podcast.
Wah, wah.
All right. So if you are regrettably a user on any of the popular dating apps, just innocently looking for love and connection, a stable life partner, you might end up being part of a social experiment performed by journalists at the Daily Mail. They recently released a report about political affiliations on dating apps and how consequential is your political affiliation for the amount of matches that you can receive and then keep once you disclose that you're a Trump supporter.
Long story short, if you're a woman, doesn't really change much.
Yeah. And if you're a man, you probably were going to have less success anyways.
And yeah, like the number was already small.
And being a Trump supporter publicly on a dating app is just going to reduce your matches even further, which is why men tend to not be forthcoming about their worldview on these apps.
Because women are judgmental. Judgy.
Not because they're judgmental, but because they are radicalized. Like, women these days are veering further and further to the extreme left.
Yeah, it's like when Tim kept saying they keep saying like Gen Z is going right. I'm like, except for all the women who are not doing that at all.
And a lot of these women who are extreme to the left are worried about the phenomenon of woke fishing, where men are pretending to be liberal in order to get laid. And this was one of the discoveries made by the journalists in this experiment. Adam Bowers said, "You guys are awesome. You've really been helpful in getting me through some rough times, but exciting news. My 2 almost 3-month-old daughter gets baptized tomorrow."
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Congrats. That's really exciting. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the big super chat. So let's show this video from the Daily Mail reporter on her undercover investigation.
She looks like first of all, this looks fake. She looks like a mannequin head. It's so smooth. She looks like a weird version of Allison Scagliotti. Here we go.
I won't tell her you said that.
MAGA girl boss on Bumble and Hinge. This is what happened. I'm Alexis Semino, reporter at Daily Mail. I sent the message, "Hi, I'm MAGA," with guys I matched with to see their reactions, and I was pretty surprised to see that the men who claimed to be liberal weren't phased at all. Unlike my colleague Will, who got little to no responses, my inbox blew up. My matches fell into the following 5 categories. 1, guys who were unapologetically MAGA and way too hyped about it. 2, men who didn't care about my political affiliation. They just wanted to go out with me. 3, the ones who had no idea what it meant. Someone asked if it was a ban. 4, those who sent me a dissertation. I could not believe how many political essays I received in response to a 4-letter acronym. 5,
just want to
the
talk.
liars. Ladies, so many men are pretending to be liberal. One guy had his profile say, "Fox News is like Coco Melon for adults." Then I messaged him and he said, "Hi, I'm Matt. I matched with roughly 80 men and only one unmatched me." I went undercover as a
So, needless to say, if an actual person opened a conversation on Hinge or Tinder or Bumble saying, "Hi, I'm MAGA," you just know they're really annoying.
Means it was literally the first thing that they think about every day. It's the last thing they think about before they go to bed. They're probably miserable without even knowing it.
Even if you voted for Trump, even if you support Trump, that's a red flag.
Yes, it is.
Okay? It just is.
It's your whole identity. It's all you think about.
Yeah, that should not be the number one thing that you're talking about on a dating app ever. But I think this kind of proves that men aren't entirely concerned with women's personalities or political views.
I love the idea that
if
these
they
guys
looked past that still were willing to see her.
But I love the idea that the guys are like, I don't give a fuck what she thinks anyways. Like,
that was one of the categories. So they're calling this the MAGA mating call, where you just open the conversation with that. And they decided to try it out of curiosity, saying dating in America is a blood sport and political identity is often treated as the ultimate deal breaker by women.
Do you think
they didn't add that part? That's important.
The funniest part is, like, 50 years ago, it just look, I wasn't alive 50 years ago. I have no idea. But I just wonder, look, there have been political radicals forever. right? That's always existed. You know, Berkeley was radical decades and decades and decades ago, but it felt like there was a time when you thought about a politically radical person, you kind of sectored them off to maybe being in Berkeley or Northern or Southern California or something like that. And now because of the internet, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And you could find just as many, you know, far left radical political ideologues at your local community college as you could attending Berkeley in the 60s and 70s.
Well, they tried this out on people in New York City, and the male reporter matched with roughly 10 women on Hinge, and the female reporter matched with roughly 80 men across Hinge and Bumble.
That was always going to happen.
That was just baked into the experiment from the beginning.
I do want to point out, though, that, I mean, I just don't know if people are going to buy that this guy's quote-unquote MAGA.
I wouldn't question it.
You wouldn't? Okay. All right.
I don't think of MAGA men as like being a very stereotypical look.
I guess
days.
perhaps I would if it was the first thing they said.
If they lead with that, maybe. Will's matches proved less enthused by his Trump message,
He looks like he's
Alexa's turned out to be a completely baffling display of versatility. So the male journalist said that on his end, women were not impressed. I sent the cold opener to around 10 women already after matching in some way. Some unmatched me immediately after I told them I was part of the MAGA movement. Other responses ranged from frustration and anger to sheer confusion. And in this one screenshot, he got a response from one woman saying, "I'm about to give you a lesson, British boy. We don't joke about that in the States," assuming this is a joke because you don't give MAGA vibes. And as a soon-to-be lawyer, I am excellent at vibe reading.
Wait, what does being a lawyer have to do with reading vibes?
This is...
Like, aren't lawyers supposed to be about twisting facts?
This person sounds equally annoying.
Yes.
Also,
like I said, I don't know if he looks more like he does CrossFit and then goes to Thistle and Thorn than
I don't think that you can these days say that MAGA has a look since it's millions of people.
The nicest thing Mary has ever said to me is that I dress politically neutral.
And then among the women who didn't immediately end our discussion, one wrote, "Okay, ? Another said, "Crazy opener." That's true. Another girl said, "Oh, great."
But the thing is,
sarcastically,
the person who said crazy opener wasn't saying it because it was political. They were saying because of that politics. If he'd come and been like, "I'm a Kamala guy," she'd have been like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Not necessarily.
I bet you she would have.
I think that it's still a turnoff to start a conversation with politics regardless, but yeah. And then for the female journalist, she sent this message to about 80 men across Hinge and Bumble, each who had already matched in some capacity. And then she just like sorted them into these categories. So first off, there were men who were already Trump supporters and were overjoyed at the idea that they matched with a female Trump supporter, almost to the point where they were like, literally just marry me now, please.
He's like, "Do you want to go see Tony Hinchcliffe together?" Like,
one of them said, "You're a dream come true." Another one said, "I need a conservative woman in my life. Thank God." And it was just like they were a little too eager. And then there were some who ignored the political statement entirely and used it to flirt with her. So one said, "Are you also coming over later too? LOL." Another one, claiming to work for the FBI, wrote, "I'm whatever you want me to be." They weren't engaging with the MAGA idea. They were yes men, thirsty and willing to nod along to anything for a shot at getting in my pants. It didn't matter if I said I was MAGA, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or Mussolini reincarnated. They just saw a woman and said yes. Unsurprising at all. Like that, I'm not surprised that all of these men
"Do you want
are
to talk
desperate.
fast, fascist fashion?"
This was the nicest response that she got. "I'm not MAGA, but I think you're really pretty."
That was very wholesome.
Most normal guy on the list.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What would be a measured, neutral response to such a weird opener from someone that would that you can think of, other than what that guy said?
I genuinely think if you got a message on a dating app saying, "Hi, I'm MAGA," you should not respond. That's actually my opinion. There were a ton who just didn't care. One of them said, hi, so question mark. And then it's not a problem at all. I kind of like him too, but for the most part, he just ignored it. Another one said, I don't like some of his policies, but I don't really care. Another one said, MAGA's cool, I don't mind. They just aren't political people, and that's most people. They're just normies who don't think about this stuff.
Yep.
And then there were people who responded to her with these essays about their political views and basically like penned TED Talks in response to
overthinkers.
Yeah. One of them wrote an essay about how both sides are corrupt and then concluded that he would rather have Trump than anyone else. And people writing about like their personal feelings about politics, and another one wrote about how he was focusing on his career and his self-development instead. And then this is something that I would predict easily. All of these men who put liberal as their political affiliation on the dating profile, and then when they get a match with a woman who is proclaiming her support for Trump, they either say, oh, I actually voted for Trump, winky face, like it was a secret, or they're just saying that they're liberal on their profile when in reality they don't care about politics because they see it as a way to get more matches. She said this was the most revealing group. These were the guys whose profiles loudly declared liberal values or even mocked conservatives, yet had no issue cozying up to a MAGA girl. One even responded, I support Trump too, winky face.
That's just because they're responding to the market.
Yes, exactly. Not that I think it's right. I don't think it's right to lie about your views on a dating app.
Yeah. You shouldn't do that.
But if you are sheerly looking for more matches, that's probably going to work because women are insane these days. And she says, when I told my guy friends about this, they weren't surprised. They admitted they had done the same. One said, yeah, I've told girls I'm more liberal than I am just to get laid. Okay, how do liberal girls not know this by now? Like, we've been knew that men were lying about being feminists, about having liberal values in order to get sex. Like,
I mean, I just don't know how much of this goes back to the age. Like, I would like to know the ages of some of these people. Because, look, there's plenty of dudes who grew up, who are my age, who are from that liberal Obama era where the media still had complete control of the narrative, who were brainwashed into believing that everything that was happening at that time was great, and they probably yearned for the good old days where they could go back to that time period. But I do wonder how many of those people have since changed and how many of them see the world as the exact same as they did, I guess, almost or over a decade ago now, and just see whatever comes out of the right as some type of awful blight on society, and how many of them have changed and just don't want to admit it.
I mean, I'm guessing most of the men that were in this experiment are in their 20s, so they didn't actually experience that time in the culture.
Then it's even more nefarious on their part. They're just reacting to what the market tells them they need to say.
And they admit it. It's just the truth. And then there were only a very, very small camp of men who responded to her negatively, but not one of them unmatched. So, I mean, if you responded, that means you're interested, period. Even the men who were openly liberal, saying like in response, I support Biden, you're not funny, whatever, they were still starting a conversation and they wanted it to go somewhere. So
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Men, more tolerant, more understanding, better people, really, than women.
But since there are so many men woke fishing on dating apps, pretending to be liberal to get matches, I mean, if there are all these desperate liberal women out there looking for a match, why don't they try anti-woke fishing? Can they go on a dating app and just pretend to be conservative so that they can finally date the men they actually find attractive?
They'd probably be better at faking it, too.
And just to further prove this point, I would like to call back to this clip from the DNC last year where this Democrat girl who lives in D.C. and works in politics admits the Democrat guys are not cute. She's only attracted to the Republicans, and she doesn't know what to do.
Who are the cuties in the Democratic Party that are speaking?
Oh, I don't know. Talk to anyone who lives in D.C. It's hard to find a cute Democrat.
Oh my God, shots fired.
No, that's the tea. Ask anyone who lives in D.C. and who works in Democratic politics. It's hard to find the cute ones.
The Republican guys are hotter?
Yeah, but they're evil. So like, I don't know.
We kind of love evil. Oh my God.
That was the joke interviewer, right? The dude who's
Yeah.
trolling them.
Yeah,
That guy was
I haven't
hilarious.
seen him much.
We need to get him on the
since
show.
then.
So we need to get him on IRL so that we can have him on our show.
He's
too.
scarily good at pretending to be gay to get women to say things like this. But it's the truth. It's the unflattering truth. I think that she should just go on a dating app and pretend to be conservative, go on dates with conservative guys, and by natural processes, she'll become conservative by dating them anyway.
I would also be interested to know, like, what is that? Again, I think the labels are unhelpful here because I don't think you would ever call me a conservative, and
Yeah.
I don't think they would ever call me a liberal. So what does it even mean, anyways?
I mean, they would probably think of you as like libertarian, I guess.
It's even worse.
Like by colloquial standards, yeah.
Yeah,
That's how most people would refer to you.
I'm gonna start the I don't care party.
I don't know. I just think that the best policy is going to be transparency about what you believe. I don't think that you should lie.
Yeah.
If you're okay,
Also, it shows one of two things, at least in my opinion, which is like the ones who are lying are showing a stunning lack of understanding of like what comes in the future if it
Yeah.
actually works out.
or they don't care about the future. They're just looking for hookups.
Like that's crazy. Like or what's worse is like they're not thinking about the future and they're not looking for hookups, which is like, oh, we'll figure it out when we get there. But it's important and
Yeah.
you need to know these things because these days, politics for a lot of people, it cuts to, unless you're one of these people that we were talking about earlier, which are the ones that don't really think about it, which those seem to be the happiest people that I know. They're generically liberal and they don't think about politics, and then they're married and happy and they don't really care one way or the other than maybe responding to their crazy aunt or uncle's Facebook posts. But, you know, if they're not thinking about it, then they have no understanding of how fast the future is going to come up on them and how much time and even worse is how much time you're wasting another person's life if they do care.
Well, I think two people who are apolitical are matched in that way, and that's fine. But if you're a conservative and you're looking to date someone who is apolitical, that probably isn't going to go well for you because you can't trust that it will stay that way. And their biases as just a default of society, like whatever values are fashionable in that day and age, are going to come head to head with your values, especially if children are involved. If you're a conservative, I don't think that you should look to date someone who's apolitical, normie. You should find someone who actually matches with your values because it's gonna have consequences that aren't immediately apparent to you in the future, and you should be looking at a future. But yeah, generally, like the people who are lying about their beliefs are just scumbags who are trying to get laid and under false pretenses.
Just another reason not to be on dating apps.
Yeah, but it's like some people feel it's their only
So excited.
resort.
I mean, now that I'm getting married so soon, I get to be one of those people who talks about being on the last copter out of Nam.
Well, you also didn't even use a dating app.
Yeah, so
that's
I get to be one of those people like, I am so glad I am not in this absolute hellscape that is the dating market.
But on a survey, you would still be listed as having met online.
Yes.
So it doesn't change that much.
No. All right.
Let's finish
go to
these super chats. Red Snow said, "Excuse me, somebody had to do it. I don't know. I'm the chosen one. I don't know what that means." Joshua Ramstadt already read that one. Adam said Mary would fall for this.
The
For
James
what?
Charles thing.
For James Charles?
Would you
I mean, the intonations on some of the responses were pretty good.
Some of them, but then, like there were some
of them
repeated
weren't.
phrases. I will say that, like, so I sent Carter like an album from a band not that long ago, and he's like, it's AI. The whole thing is AI, and the only antenna that went up for me when I was listening to it was some of the imagery that the lyrics invoke are kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
Phrases repeat themselves, but I was like, maybe they're just not that good. I thought it was great, but I was like, But what I realized afterwards was the production value is so polished and the lyrics were so repetitive in places that they seemed dichotomous. Like, it didn't seem like if your production value is that good, you would at least have a songwriter who's like, you know what? I'm not going to repeat these phrases.
AI can only imitate bad or mediocre art. I don't think it can come up with true genius.
Yes.
But some people would argue against that.
Tree Goblin 69 in the chat says Brett could pass as gay. Is that a compliment? I don't know.
What's with all these people saying you're gay? I don't
rude.
like it.
So rude.
Bender McSimpson said thoroughly enjoyed PCC IRL last night. More of that, please.
Oh God. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we shined, but
it wasn't our best night. That's fine. Like,
it's okay.
It's
they can't all be winners.
That's literally my approach to everything. Is like, well, let's just like wipe your brow and just move on. You can't do much.
Please fix our names. Tim has to do it too. This is ridiculous.
I'm not going to do that.
On Plus your end, Corn Pop. If you want to change your that is your business. Greg Duvier said Neil McDonough is one of the most underrated actors. He is the only reason season 4 of Arrow was watchable.
Yeah, he really is. Him as Damien Dark is the only thing passable about season 4 of Arrow. Like, it's a shockingly bad season of that show, especially given the fact what's sad about it is like, I liked. So first of all, season 1 and 2 are fantastic. So it benefits from having John Barrowman as Malcolm Merlyn in season 1, great bad guy. Then you get what's the actor's name who played Slade Wilson in season 2? Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson in season 2, fantastic villain. Then you get Matt Nable as kind of like beer gut dad Ra's al Ghul, which I still liked and thought it was awesome, but not nearly as good as season 1 and 2. But then Damien Dark, which you get Neil McDonough, which should be a fantastic villain, is only kind of okay because the writing was so awful. And then you get Josh Segarra as Prometheus as awesome villain in season 5. So he really did get saddled. Like, season 3 and 4 had a decent villain in a good season. Season 4 had a great villain in a bad season. And then season 5 had a great villain in a good season.
Corn Pop said, has people been seeing in Corn Pop imposters? We really need a Grammarly sponsorship. Pop Culture Junkie said Angel Studios has a distinctive streaming strategy, avoiding deals with the main streamers, Netflix, Disney, etc., and doing their own VOD and using some faith-based micro-distributors internationally.
I wonder what those are. Like, it's also like there are like Up Family streaming service. It's called like Up Family and Faith.
That's actually the name of it?
Yeah.
Up Family?
It's Up Family and Faith, I think, is the name of the streaming service. I was like tempted to get it at one point because there was a show I wanted to watch on there. I did not.
There was also Lore TV. I remember us talking about that. Corn Pop said, are you guys federal agents? You got admitted because you got my name and my address on email. No.
I don't have access to your email.
We don't have your information and we are not federal agents. Exploding Prinny said, heading out to sea together at the Harkins. Google said it was rated R for mutant monsters and really painful schmecks, which wish me luck, dudes.
Good luck.
Is that the Allison Brie one?
Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people are going to see Naked Gun, and the reviews have been pretty good.
I do want to see that. Not That Jon Stewart said, quick reminder that the largest group of voters in a lot of elections is did not vote. True. These are the people who responded saying, like, I don't really care. Do you want to get drinks? Like, those are those people. Adam said, hi, I'm MAGA. Blocked, reported, definitely a scam. Oh, so you would assume that it's a catfish. Interesting.
Hello there, fellow not federal agents.
Yeah, they're like trying to
honeypot it's like the meme of like the girl. She's like, could you show me how to saw off my shotgun?
In DC, I would say be suspicious of honeypots for sure.
Otherwise, you end up like Eric Swalwell.
Yeah. No Control said, are you up on Twisted Metal Season 2? What is
What do you think?
What do you think?
I'm not. I'm poor at the moment, and I canceled Peacock. If you tell me it's good, though, maybe I'll sign up for it. Is it This is the number one question. Is it a weekly release, or did they dump it all at once? If they dumped it all at once, I might get it so that I can watch it all and binge it. But if they're doing that weekly release bullshit, maybe I'll wait till all the episodes drop and then suffer through the indignity of having to buy Peacock for a month. But I can't afford it right now. I got a wedding coming up.
Red Snow said, Trump said I had to do it and found it very silly.
Trump said you had to do what?
I don't know what that means. Voltage75 said, Brett, new Dexter, boom or doom?
Bro, I gave up after one episode. I felt that way about all the Dexters that are not season 1 through 4 of the original Dexter. I watched New Blood. It was boring. I tried Resurrection. I didn't care. Or is the new one Resurrect? Whatever the prequel one was, First Blood. Tried it, didn't care. Tried Resurrection, didn't care. Michael C. Hall is aging exactly like Timothy Oliphant. It's not the same. Just go back and rewatch the original. Like I said, they're making like a remake of The Holiday, the romantic comedy on Apple TV Plus. Like somebody just shoot me in a cannon into a volcano.
Teenage Wilder said, I agree that AI is capable of mimicking mediocre art, but will never be capable of high art. High art has soul that can only be created by human hands.
Yes, but the argument these days is we are in a quantity-based economy and not a quality-based economy. And for art these days, very little of what we come across is what people deem high art. Most of it is slop that people consume in some way, shape, or form. So there will always be a market for great human-created high art, but there will always be an even bigger market for algorithmically created slop for people to consume as they eat their TV dinner and come home from work.
Well, even if we're to accept the idea that AI art taking over is inevitable and that there is going to be a huge market for it, or maybe it will overtake all, consumed art altogether, whether it will completely dominate. I don't think that that's a counter argument to what Shane said.
Okay.
I feel like people are responding to that argument that true high art can only be made by humans and saying, well, people are going to buy all the AI art.
Yeah, but that's where
that's not a counter argument to the argument about what art truly is.
Yeah, but the basis of the basic premise of these discussions these days is not being had about the idea of high art or even just art that's not for consumption. It's about the corporatization of art because people aren't. I guess what do you consider high art these days that's new? Has there been anything that there was that isn't something that's in a museum from hundreds of years ago?
I guess I wouldn't know because I'm not plugged into that world.
Like when I think of what people think about when they think of art these days, they're thinking about consumable products. So that's the base level of discussion.
But we could get to a point where thank you
guys. Hold please.
I think that we could get to a point where there is zero market for high art or zero market for human-made art, and that still wouldn't make it not art.
I think that it ends up
that would still not be a counter argument to the idea that only humans can make art.
I feel like
just because it doesn't sell doesn't mean anything.
It becomes a discussion that people are having about pragmatism versus what you're describing. And most people are taking the pragmatic approach. But
it's just people talking over each other. I just think AI isn't actually the threat that people think it is, but they think it's a threat to humanity because they don't understand what a human being is, because we already had our entire philosophical foundation shook.
It's because
by postmodernism before AI ever was at the forefront of our minds.
You know, and before long, we're on the Gauge app, and our employers are ending our careers by giving us 440s on the Gauge app when we go to our next employer.
We're buying AI cheeseburgers or something. It's just like, how is like AI art is inevitable an argument in favor of AI art? Like, that doesn't make any
I'm saying that is the pragmatist approach to this, is learn the technology now if you want to be able to continue to make a living in the arts.
Okay, I'm just saying, if anyone is interested in having an argument about what art fundamentally is, and also about what human nature is, that's not gonna be part of the argument. Like, that doesn't have a place in that dialogue. And just some people seem to be so like anti-intellectual and unwilling to engage with that discussion, and are only interested in commerce, and that's like really frustrating to see. Red Snow said there's an exploding Prinny in chat. Who threw him?
I don't know what that
You'll
means.
have to tell us. Well, that was another super chat earlier.
Oh.
No Control said, save your money. It's lesbian witch gang in TM2.
Am I missing?
Twisted Metal.
Lesbian witch gang.
Didn't they already do that in the Acolyte? I thought we already had our fair share of lesbian witches.
I'm gonna be honest. The style of the show is so absurdist that probably won't bother me. Like, it's like watching some really. Okay, if Mad Max is high art, then Twisted Metal is low art.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that.
And you were also able to enjoy Agatha.
I thought Agatha was fine, and I had a post the other day about how Catherine Hahn has followed the same career path as Pedro Pascal, meaning that she's been around for 10 zillion years, and she's just now getting her just dessert. She's just finally found the footing in the real success that she worked so hard for in the early 2000s, all the way back to the late 90s. So, you know.
Shane H. Wilder said, a happy weekend to everyone. I hope to see some of y'all at the Culture War tomorrow. I'll be wearing the Everything I Don't Like is a PSYOP shirt.
There you go.
Well, thank you for representing the brand. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel if you are new here and you've not subscribed here yet already, and let us know down below, what are your thoughts on the ethics of artificial intelligence and art, and what does art really mean to you? They can let us know.
Great.
Yeah.
You guys
Where can they find
send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. Or you can help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
Have you been getting TikTok famous?
Faster than I thought.
I believe it.
Like 3.6K at the moment.
Okay. But you got like way more on your other platforms.
On Instagram, I've been growing rapidly. I got like 300 followers yesterday.
Let's go. Is that from the fashion stuff, or?
I've just been posting daily, and it seems to be working.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Instagram and Meta, they really want you posting every day.
Once a day, or like multiple times a day?
Usually twice a day they want you to do that.
That would be a whole other like side hustle at that point. But I can manage once a day for now.
There you go. All right. I should say, like, I want to get to 10K on X before I get married, but I'm not going to tell people the day I'm getting married, so that doesn't really matter. But
guys, get Brett to 10K on X for his own.
For my lukewarm takes that have absolutely no bite to them whatsoever. Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic. On both of those platforms, this show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. Although next week we will be off on Thursday and Friday because we'll both be traveling, right?
Yes. On Thursday and Friday
next
week.
But next week will be Monday through Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch this show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which helps us out a lot. So thank you guys so much for that. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.